Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Footy Report. Consecutive weeks, baby. We're back in form now. So let's uh, let's start off with some admin. Let's finally, as I said, just said, consecutive weeks. I think we'll try and be more consistent. Like we don't have a set day yet for each week.
Yeah,
We'll
so I
weekly.
think
Yeah, go ahead.
basically we'll be having a set kind of date, maybe figurative, which would be Friday for
Hmm.
most of the weeks. But like
Hmm.
some weeks like today, you weren't free and I wasn't free, so maybe a Sunday or something.
Yeah, I think
So the
Friday,
good
Saturday,
thing
Sunday,
about
like
Sunday,
over the weekend, I think is what
weekend,
our plan is to put out a podcast and because like yeah, sometimes things happen. Like especially this Friday of the Shara, everybody had plans. So Friday,
yeah,
generally we would want to keep Friday nights as the time we record, but yeah, due to life being life, like this is not our job. Like this is just something we do out of our as a hobby. So we
you
are
guys can help make it a job though if you guys get more views and more likes, then we can
yeah, if
actually like.
that happens, if yeah,
It's up to
then
you
that's a
guys.
different
It's
thing.
up to you.
Yeah, it's what the market demands. Like if there is a demand for us in the market, then yes, maybe we do expand on this and make it bigger. And yeah, that's mainly it. We are trying to, I think we'll be more consistent. We'll do it every week now. And now let's go into the what you can see behind Ayush. uh, uh Start, Ayush. Like I'm not going to start.
Yeah, I can feel your pain already. So let's just get off the bat. Leicester City haven't been in the best form. We both have to agree that. But
Yes.
yesterday, they absolutely ripped Manchester United apart, especially in the last 10 minutes. And okay, I get that there's an excuse. Okay, fine. But first of all, we have to congratulate Man United for having their unbeaten run for 29 games. It is still a big achievement. Whether you don't like their performances or anything, 29 away games is still a big achievement. The run was supposed to come to an end, but I don't think it should have ended like that for sure. Like, I just feel that,
I'm glad that thing ended. It used to really annoy me. Like I like who cares about an unbeaten streak, man? Like it's the like yeah, it was from last season, it was from whatever, it was impressive. Like nobody has ever done it this long. What did it achieve? The other streaks that we've seen, like this is not
the
the main point of the
Invincibles.
discussion, but the other streak, the other teams that are on there, they are championship winning teams. They are teams that have achieved something. The USP of this United team's achievements was the fact that they were on an unbeaten run. We have to acknowledge this team just because of the unbeaten run. No, who
Hmm.
cares? The unbeaten streak means nothing if there is, if it does not, like those kinds of statistics, right? Like those statistics are meant to back up champions. Those
Yeah,
statistics
that
matter. Like the Zidane statistics that we that there was a thread of Zidane statistics that were there. Those threads matter because that was an unprecedented thing that had happened at Real Madrid when he had won three consecutive Champions League. The three consecutive Champions Leagues is what matters. The other statistics just enhance that. So an unbeaten streak in and of itself is meaningless. Absolutely zero.
fair enough.
So
Fair enough. I
yeah,
that
now that
the
we've put that aside, let's let's actually get into what's going on. So tell me what's
yeah.
going
So
on at
so the worst part is this was the start of the 10 tough games of United back to back,
I think
and
Everton
it's
should be included in that list of tough run of fixtures that was happening. The
yeah. All right. I
Yeah,
think
so
maybe
this
I'm wrong
was
in that.
yeah.
Second game, but the start hasn't been good. Oh,
Oh
a
yeah,
draw in the first Everton game and then a loss at
a lucky one at
Power
that.
Stadium.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Everton's Davies made a really silly mistake in passing it to Yeremina when
yeah.
he was
Not
clearly
even
open.
that. I think that's the way they play. I think that was one of their better performances in the season. The result was not even then. That
Yeah,
tells you how poorly they played. Like I thought they played better against Everton than they did against Newcastle, and they won that game 4-1. They, I thought they
oh
played
yeah,
better at Everton than they did against what do you call it, Wolverhampton, and they won that game. So the results were were outliers compared to what was happening on the pitch. The outperformance did not back the results up, and now you can see that the performance and the results. Like people were talking about grinding out, like champions grind out results. Champions
Yeah,
grind out results. That happens once in a while. Liverpool versus Burnley,
that's
that happened
true.
last season. Like when they got beaten on the Anfield or something like that. Those kinds of things,
Hmm.
like that's not the best example because Liverpool had a terrible season last time out. But like some of these
Exactly.
freak results, like Liverpool, Norwich versus Man City, like when
Hmm.
Norwich beat them, and like then a couple of results you have to grinding out results, like the Leicester against when Company scored. That's a very good example of a game where you
Yeah,
have to
that's
grind
an
out a result.
example of grinding out result, I guess. Yeah.
When you're grinding out results, that matters when you're playing well in the other games that you're playing. When you're just playing terribly, that's not what it means. That's not what it is.
Exactly.
That's the hope that a fan holds on to, and fair enough. I'm one of those fans. So okay, uh, let's go ahead with
Get into the match. Yeah.
yeah.
So, first of all, what are your thoughts on the match? Because I think I have a few opinions, but I'll ask you first, obviously, as a United
Well,
fan. What did you feel while watching the match?
they had no control of the game. They looked a bit lost. The players starting to feel frustrated. Where they will their frustration will turn to is a question that I'm asking myself, and I'm asking now that I'm asking everybody who's watching this. Uh, they weren't good. Like I think the whole game, like the first half, I missed a bit of it. They they looked the same. Like I thought they looked like this against West Ham, uncoordinated, kind of lost. Ronaldo is Ronaldo has to take 4 touches whenever he gets on the ball. It's like it seems like a team lacking confidence and coherence. So that's what I'm feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, so the pointers you mentioned, the last few ones, the coherence and how they didn't feel like they were in gel, doesn't that eventually, I mean, I'm not saying it is completely on the manager, but I think the best person to blame for a team not gelling should be the manager, if I'm not right,
There's a
right?
lot of blame to go around. There's a lot of it. There's
Yeah, because
a
like I have this one question. So, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer make Bruno Fernandes the player he is today?
no. I think Bruno
Did
Fernandez
Pog did
already was.
no. Did and I'm getting to a point with this. So,
Yeah,
did
go
Ole
ahead. Go
Gunnar
ahead.
Solskjaer unlock Pogba's form?
Mm, I don't
No,
really
not
think so.
really,
Go ahead.
right? Yeah, and same goes for Ronaldo or any of the other players there. So you have to understand that these players are individually great, and then I think Man United get away a lot of times because of some individual performances, and
Hmm.
I've not really seen them play as a complete unit or a team.
Hmm.
Like I don't think the off-pitch chemistry is there, and the worst part is the on-pitch chemistry also seems to be lacking. Like no offense to Greenwood, he's a great baller and everything. I don't see him pass much to the other players there. When he's on the ball, he has one clear motive of trying to score. He scored a
But
banger in
that's the thing.
yesterday's
Yeah,
game.
that comes from the manager because the manager is not. There is no instructive concepts,
Exactly,
illustrations that are
exactly.
being.
So this
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
traces
I'm
back to the
agreeing with your
manager
point.
thing.
I'm not trying to contradict you at all. You're right. Yeah, I mean, okay. The thing is, this squad was heading somewhere last year. You could see it.
Yeah,
Like there wasn't the way they were playing. It wasn't like there was a well thought out tactical philosophy or a bunch of ideas that were being executed. But the way
but
the
they were
team
getting
was
the
set
result.
up, people used to complain about McFred all the time, but at least there was an objective in putting those two players on the same pitch and making them play together. There were ideas being put into place. And like, yeah, you can blame Solskjaer all you want, and there is plenty of blame for Solskjaer to go around. Like, I think there are other parts that have to be really put under scrutiny here. Like, I think there's a overall like I remember one time I was talking to you about teams rebuilding in the NBA and stuff like that, right? Like
Yeah,
when you look at a long term, when you look at long term issues at a club, right, or at any sporting organization, you look from the ground up. You look from the top. The top is what matters the most long term for a club. That's what matters the most. This is a bit of a tangent, so maybe I'll stop right now and we'll revisit it after we talk about Solskjaer. But yeah, my bad on bringing it up now. But like, there is something we have to talk about from the ownership perspective as well. So getting
yeah, for
back to
sure.
Solskjaer, why was Harry Maguire in the team yesterday? Can you explain? Can anyone explain it to me? Please explain it to me. Why was Harry Maguire in that team? He looked short of confidence. He looked lost. He looked unfit. He looked incoherent. I mean, like, yeah, there's people are going to shit on Harry Maguire for this because that's what fans do. And
I'm not going to shit on him. I understand he's come back from injury. I just want
I'm
to
not talking
understand
about
what
you,
is
man. I'm
not.
just talking about Twitter in
Oh yeah,
general.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not contradicting your point. I'm just saying.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
have
yeah.
to understand what was going on Maguire's head during the first goal that he conceded. De Gea played a pass. The pass wasn't perfect. I'm not going to blame him. He's looking and he's standing there and he's waiting for the ball to come in, seeing that Kelechi Iheanacho is chasing. The difference between the two players was Iheanacho wanted the ball more than Maguire, and that was
Yeah,
visible.
yeah.
He did not react to it. You can't say
Hmm.
if he was lost, why the hell was he lost? He's
Hmm.
playing in away.
That's a great question
He's
to ask. Yes.
captain. He's the captain of the team. He's supposed to be setting examples for the team, for the young defenders around him
Hmm.
and on all.
Hmm.
He was so lost. It was just so horrible. Like, how the hell can that happen at that stage
Hmm.
of football? How can
Hmm.
you lose your patience being the captain? You're not an 18-year-old who's his debut. And even
Yeah.
if it was his debut,
Yeah.
I think he would have been paying more attention than Maguire yesterday.
Yeah, but
He
that's the
was
thing.
that.
I think Ayush, like, I mean, he's half fit, man. He had just come back from injury, and I mean, this is not a Ole. I don't think like people were talking about Maguire being an Iron Man and stuff like that. Dude, this guy for the past year and a half, 2 years, like since he's come to Manchester United, like he has played so much football, and Ole has played him unnecessarily so many times. You don't need to like that. There are limitations to how much a man can do, and I understand you want Maguire to be in most of your squad, but like when you look at hindsight, you look at the 2 years. There's so many games where Maguire need not have played. You could have tried. Like that's the thing. It's a squad. Like that's what the difference between elite level managers and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is. Like I don't know how good Ole is because his track record before Manchester United is bare bones at best. Bare bones at best. And then he's come
Even if
here.
it was, you have to understand, he was a coach in the Norway League, right? If I'm not wrong.
He was coaching
Norwegian
Molde
League.
and he coached Cardiff for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, I get that. I think Zidane started a trend for that somewhat legends of the club can take your club to the next level as they've played in it. And I think 90% or even 85% of the time it's not worked out. It didn't work out with
Hmm.
Lampard. It didn't work out with Pirlo. And Solskjaer isn't even the biggest of legends there, but it still didn't work out. So I think this
Yeah,
trend
but
needs to get
he's
really.
more capable. Like he's more capable than most managers. At least
Oh, obviously.
he's capable. Is he capable to handle Manchester United, one of the toughest jobs in world football? Like these are the toughest jobs in world football. Chelsea, Manchester City, Arsenal, Manchester United, Tottenham. Like there is so much global support in these teams. Like the big six you pick up, like
Yeah.
then pick up any club like a Bayern Munich, PSG. These are the toughest jobs in the game. These are the toughest jobs in the game. You have handed a like I mean, I don't know if Ole was ever deserving of the job. That is not a question that is to be answered right now. But at this particular moment, do, does it look like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be able to turn this around? In my opinion, no.
No,
But he
I
has
don't see
proven
that
us wrong
happening.
before. Obviously that's the best I can do. These things are definitely out of our control. We can just speculate, understand what we understand, and express what we think. So in that sense, I don't think this is going to turn around because there was a suggestion. I was in a WhatsApp group today and somebody suggested that he thinks that he's Ole now that the toughest fixtures are around. It's Atlanta and Liverpool next. These are the toughest fixtures you could ask for. Ole is going to turn up with an Ole masterclass, which he has done before under pressure situations. The players rally under him. He's proven that before. That could happen again. But I think in this particular case, I don't think it's going to happen because the requirements of the management are different than what they were before. Before they, at least the club understood it was a rebuild job. But the moment you bring in Ronaldo, the demands have completely changed. So that's not what the club is doing now. And I think Ole is out of his depth. So
Yeah, for sure. Plus, you have to understand it's not just everything's in Ole's control, also, right? You have to look at how good Atlanta has been in Syria or
yes.
how they play. Even if they do manage to scrape a win against Atlanta, whether they're wits or something, they hold back or
Hmm.
something, some masterclass takes place.
Hmm.
I don't see them even competing with Liverpool at this point, the way Liverpool have been playing.
Yeah.
How do they get past that wall? You have to
I don't
understand. Okay,
know.
what if
I think that's where the counter attacking thing can work for United, because they have had a counter attacking philosophy, and like sometimes it works against the big teams. The track record isn't as good as we imagine, because you remember the wins and you don't remember the losses. But
yeah,
like, yeah, the track record hasn't been great, but it is, at least there is a track record. There's a precedence for being that has been set by this manager. And I think now that we've is there anything around Solskjaer do you want to say? Because there is the other elephant in the room that I want to refer to here. So
I don't know, man. I think I don't know. Have you ever seen Greenwood play on the left?
no,
It's just a general
I think a
question.
couple of times, yes, but
You think
I've never
it might
thought of
work?
him to be spectacular from the left.
I mean, the thing is, playing Sancho on the left has not worked, and this is clearly visible.
I
He's
think because they
definitely a
want an
better
inside
player.
winger, dude. He's right-footed, right? And he wants to cut inside. I mean, that's the problem, right? Like, you have to, like, these guys are young, like all of them, Greenwood, Sancho, Rashford. These guys are very young, and either you let them take their hits and grow from that, or you coach them. So, but the
Yeah,
thing is,
see,
like,
the thing
there is
is,
so much flux in this squad. Like, that's the problem, and that problem comes in with Instagram Man of the Year. Like, that's where these problems originate from, because the Ronaldo signing. I'm not blaming Ronaldo for any of this. That's not my point. But I am trying to point out that the moment Ronaldo comes in, the requirements of the squad change, and you have to cater. Your squad is not designed to play with Cristiano Ronaldo in it. Like, how? I mean, he does not press.
that's very visible on the pitch also, Like,
It
I
is
don't
very
see them
obvious.
even
It is
looking
very obvious. He
to give
looks
it to
isolated.
Ronaldo.
He looks lost. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo looks lost, and some blame has to be attributed to him as well. Like, if you want to play, this is a team sport. Like, it's about 11 players. This is the thing is, now if I start talking too much about Ronaldo, there's a huge problem that I have as Ronaldo, and the way he's perceived, and these some of these ideas that exist in football. It's a very personal vendetta that I have. I think I'll discuss it at another time. But
All right, for sure.
because there is a lot of details I want to delve into and ask your opinion on. So uh like, this is, I mean, the Ronaldo thing automatically changed how the squad is going to work, and I don't think anybody, now that I've gone back to the other big elephant in the room, which is the ownership.
Yeah,
Now
I
that
just
we've
want to
gone
cut
back
you off for
there,
1 second.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want to like complete the Sancho Greenwood point.
Go
So
ahead.
okay, Sancho likes to cut in, but we all know even in his Dortmund days and even for his international duties when he's played, he plays on the right and he's actually good there. So I'm just saying, if you've seen him play for 7 games, you have to spice things up and change it. Okay, tell me one thing: is Greenwood one of the crosser players who whips in the balls? No, right? He's also a person who likes to cut in, right? And seeing how Greenwood is in relatively better form than Sancho, I still think he can do better than Sancho on left and maybe give Sancho the right wing. Because we've seen Sancho turn games and rip them apart from the right. He has that
That's
ability
the
to be
thing,
the
dude.
change.
I don't think they, like, that's the thing. Like, that's my problem here as well. Like, what are you trying to do? What is the objective? How are you trying to score a goal? Like, can anybody explain to me how Manchester United are trying to score a goal? Like, is there any ideas? Like, I think last year's Juventus fans would also be kind of asking themselves similar questions. I might be wrong. I don't know. I haven't talked to a Juventus supporter about this. Maybe I should. But like, what are we trying to do here? What is the objective? How are you planning to score a goal? Like, all these teams, look at the other teams, dude. Like, look at what they're trying to do. Like, I know pretty much. I have an idea of what Liverpool are trying to do. I have an idea of what Man City are trying to do. The spaces they're trying to attack, the players, the positioning of the players that is there on the pitch at all times. There is coherence. There is an idea. There is a unity in the ideas that are trying to being executed, because there is an understanding of, this is our objective, to win the football game, and this is how we are going to go about it. These are the things that we're trying to do. And when you have those kinds of plans and executions in place, that is how this sport is supposed to function, at least in times of now. this, like these ideas, these Ferguson ideas, right, that you have, they worked in 1999. They worked in 2008 as well. They worked till 2013 because the man in charge was savvy enough, smart enough, and understood everybody's role in this whole output. He understood how how football clubs work. That understanding was there. That is why the club was successful, because there was somebody who had a master plan. And that is why Man City and Liverpool and Chelsea are successful, because at least for now, there is a plan. Like Tuchel with Man City, I would not pretend they have a long-term plan in place, but they've put in
They
the
have
right
money.
people
They
in the
don't
right
need a
positions
long
for the
term.
time being. Like at
Yeah,
least for
exactly.
the Champions League that they won, they put the right man in, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Okay, let's get. Like, do you want to talk more about the Greenwood and Sancho and any of
Nah, I
those?
think I'm done there. I think maybe that's it. And I just have this thing that Ole knows that he doesn't have the world's best CDM or the Premier League's best CDM, or even the right back, or
Even
even the
a
defense
CDM
as
would
a
be a
whole.
question mark. Like, do they have a CDM?
Exactly. Exactly. They don't. So when
They
you
have
don't
half
have
a
that,
Nemanja
you can't,
Matic.
yeah, when they don't have that, they can't just sit there and complain. They need to figure out a tactic or a
Yeah,
system that
you're
works.
absolutely right. Yes.
That's not happening. That's not happening. And I
Yeah.
think he's adamant on playing the style he wants to play, which okay works like okay 50% of the time. Is that
What
good
is
enough
that
for winning
style? I
trophies?
don't know what that style is supposed to be. Like
Another big question.
before Ronaldo came in, at least I understood that we are trying to facilitate what Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba want to do. And the runners were there. There was space in the attack. They were pushing up. Like there were some ideas in place because of the players who were being put in the positions that they do the best at. But then when you put in Ronaldo in the squad, all of that has gone to shit because you have to try and play with Ronaldo in your team. You can't
And
do
they're
your
not
own
even
thing and
doing
have
that
a
properly.
Ronaldo sitting in the middle doing nothing. That's the thing.
That's
This is
exactly
elite
what
level
they did
sport.
against Leicester.
Yeah, that's
That's
exactly what they
exactly
did.
what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, man.
And
It's
like,
ridiculous. Like he's been put in a position to fail and he's failing and he's doing a really good job at failing. Like I'm not saying he's innocent in this. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been put in a position to fail and he is proving everybody right by absolutely failing. That's what's happening in my opinion.
exactly. And I think you have to understand when Klopp came in, he didn't have the squad of players he wanted to. He still managed to make it work, even if it took him a season or two. Like even without Van Dijk or Allison, they reached the Champions League final. They had, and I'm sure that Champions League final squad
Yeah,
is
and they
nowhere
pulled
near
off the
Man
transfer
United.
deal of the century. Like I will
Yeah,
never let people
that,
forget. That is yeah, Philippe
obviously,
Coutinho to
obviously, for
Barcelona is the
sure.
transfer of the century when you're the selling club. So yeah.
Yeah, but also you have to understand that squad isn't as good as United squad as right now.
Even now you could
And
argue
look
that
at the
it's that
levels.
the two squads are United squad is better.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it is more deep and it has better areas than I think Liverpool as a whole. But they have a set system they play, and the manager made that system without the players he needed. He took the players he had. He made best with what he could, and I don't see Ole
Hmm.
doing that. And
Oh
that's a
yeah,
really big problem,
yeah, comparing him to
especially if you.
Klopp in my opinion is blasphemy. Like that is you should be caned for that or something like that. It's a
I know,
ridiculous.
but like I think
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
I
more
know.
of the squad's opinion.
Oh yeah,
But
it
yeah, I
is.
think
Oh no, it's a very fair point to bring up. But yeah, that's just it. Like Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola and these guys, they are elite of the elite, dude. There's like four people in the world who can do what they do.
for sure.
They are ridiculously good at their jobs, and pretending that you understand as much as these guys do. Like Luis Enrique was talking about something with Spain, and he said, "I know what I'm doing. I'm much better at my job than you are." When he was in a media conference, at that time, I was kind of annoyed by what he said, but over a period of like whatever 3-4 weeks ago, I think he said, I thought about what he was saying, and I thought this man's right. He understands football at a level I one day might be able to, but at the current moment, I don't even understand what 1% of what he understands. So
Exactly. And if you have that kind of arrogance, you better back it, and he did. Spain played extremely well in the Euro Championship. They played well in the Nations League also, and like you can see the change. People were questioning his decision of not taking one Real Madrid player. I don't think they could have done any better with a Real Madrid player in that squad. Maybe if
Yeah,
Ramos was fit. Otherwise, no, I don't see any holes there.
they were really good at that tournament. Spain were like
Exactly.
they were the closest to
That
winning the
was
tournament, not England, in my opinion. I think Spain, like the Spain Italy one, was basically the de facto final of that tournament. And
Yeah, I think it was because of the fixtures that Spain were unlucky to not
oh yeah,
reach the final
that
and stuff.
happened. That is always the case in
Yeah,
championship
that's
in
always
these
there.
tournaments. That is always going to happen, and that's kind of what's appealing about these tournaments as well. Like the luck also always plays a part. That has always been a part of football, and you don't want to get rid of that luck. Like especially will look like something like VAR and all. Like people are so it feels antithesis to the concept of the game, of the joy of the game. So I don't think that has to be modified in any way, shape, or form. So even then, when you will, there is always going to be flaws in whatever system you come up with. So
Fair enough. Let's get to the
yeah,
ownership system
yeah,
to
the
talk about.
ownership situation, as I was talking about, since 2013, since one of the greatest managers of all time, the greatest British manager of all time for sure, left the club. It's been 8 years, and then like under Ferguson, there was one objective always. Since 1986, there was one objective. We have to win whatever tournament we participate in. Not even whatever tournament we participate in. We have to win the league, and we have to try and win the Champions League. Those were the two objectives: win at home, win the league, and win in Europe. Those are the two objectives that were always there. And since he's left the club, I'm not even sure they want to win anything anymore. I think it's more about like I think
The
they want to
attitude
make
is
money first of
far
all.
too casual. It's
Uh,
far too casual, the attitude from the players also.
no, I don't think it's the players' fault. I don't think that's the players' fault at all. I think those guys care about the club a lot more than anybody else does. It's their job, man. How can you not care about what you're doing for a living, especially when it's football? Like, can you imagine? Like, you're 10 years old and you're playing in the ground. Like, for example, if we were playing at 10 years old, 12 years old, playing in these grounds, and what do you dream of doing? You dream of being behind you, that pitch. That's what you dream of. And when you do that as a job, how will you not care? Like some players are there are some exceptions for who look at football as a job and they do it, but for most of them, like a guy like Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, every
That's one good thing that Marcus Rashford is back for the 10 games at least
yeah,
because he was actually good when he played yesterday. That's a good
yeah,
positive for
like
United.
the fiber, every fiber of their being wants to be amazing, wants to do the best, give everything for the team, win games, win championships, win tournaments. Like that's what you want to do. And whenever any suggestion comes in, like I'm always very skeptical of a suggestion that the player does not care. There are exceptions. Mesut Ozil clearly did. After a certain point, he was so disenchanted by the way he was treated at Arsenal that he could not bring himself to care. And even that, in that situation, with the context, you kind of get where Mesut Ozil comes from, right?
Yeah,
I think you would
you
really agree
understand.
because I think you really were supportive of what Mesut was going through. So, I mean, that is what it is. Like the players care, but when the objective of the ownership is to be as popular on social media as possible, to mint as much money as possible, to get as much dividends out of the club as possible. The objective is not to win anything anymore. They don't care about winning anymore. They don't seem like they do. They're putting in money to keep the fans on side and to maintain that balance, to be able to continue owning this club, getting whatever they are getting out of it, and letting the
This is
status
where
quo be.
United and Arsenal's owners have a few things in common.
Yeah,
This
like
is
for now,
exactly what
we can think that, oh, maybe Arsenal are going up and going somewhere, dude. Till the time they don't prove themselves by winning a championship, they are going nowhere. Okay, to prove that you're a championship contender, you have to compete first. We can speculate and we can do long term analysis, and all that bullshit can always be done. But when you level up, you either level up or you fuck up. Those are the two options that happen. That's as simple as that. And in this particular scenario, obviously Manchester United was supposed to level up and they are flubbing it. And uh, even Ronaldo and Messi on the same team cannot save this team. It's just not possible. The management is not in place. That is why you need a guy like a Pochettino or a Zidane to come in. Because then when Zidane walks into that club, then what's the objective? There is only one objective. There is only one objective from a man like Zinedine Zidane: win, win, and win. There is only one thing that you have to do. You have to win, because that man has proven it. He has proven it at the biggest club in the world. He's done it at the shiniest of lights with a president who hated him. Definitely Florentino Perez would hate him, because that's the kind of guy Florentino Perez is. He will love you and then he will hate you. I'm not trying to disparage Florentino Perez. That's not my point. That's just the kind of guy he is. He will agree with you on some things. And he will disagree with you on something. It's just a very complicated relationship to maintain. That's all. And fair enough to him. And he's done it.
Zidane even knows how to use Ronaldo. We have to understand that he
the
has
best use of Ronaldo. Exactly.
He has Varane in his team. He has Ronaldo. He'll completely transform this Manchester United side. By next year, I guarantee.
Yeah, you will have to back Zinedine Zidane in the market. That's the thing. Even if Poch comes in, dude, like I think if Poch comes in, the first thing I would do is try and get Ronaldo out. That's the first thing I would do. Get him on the cheap. Get him out. Let's do what Spurs did. Let's play with like Jadon Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood. These guys will run their socks off for Pochettino. If Harry Kane and Heung-min Son were willing to give everything they had, because those are the kinds of attitudes, like these players understand what, like if Pochettino will be able to extract that from them. Like he can't extract that from Messi and Neymar, because Messi and Neymar have already won everything there is to win. He can't extract them from Kylian Mbappe, because Kylian Mbappe has already won everything except for the Champions League. Motivating people who have already won everything and who might not care as much about winning becomes much harder than people who have not won anything, right? That is what you have to do. You have to, like somebody like Pochettino or Zidane, if these guys
I think any of the top 5 to 7 managers in the world.
Yeah, even Conte walks in, there would be a change. I don't know if it will work, but there will be a change in attitude. The club's perspectives will change. There will be a lot of shakeups. Like a lot of people will fall off their ass. I think the autonomy that Paul Pogba has created for himself, fair enough to him. Like pairs are generally very underpowered, so whatever power you can get in this play, like I will never be against a player for trying to grab even the small amount of power or a small or whatever money, whatever, like those kinds of things. Players are not motivated the same way we are. Like they have lived different lives. They understand where they come from, and I'm not going to pretend to tell Paul Pogba where he's come from and what he's been through and what he should do in with his future. So, but then you have to bring in like the club. No player can be bigger than the club. And Ferguson said that. He threw Beckham out because he thought Beckham was getting too big. I don't think Ferguson would have allowed this Instagram and Twitter nonsense to happen, because it's not a Manchester United Twitter account anymore. It's a Cristiano Ronaldo branding account. Like that's literally what its objective is now. And I'm done. I think I've said what I've wanted to say. It's a very heartbreaking situation. I've started to feel indifferent, man, and my brother has started to feel indifferent. The moment Kshitij starts feeling indifferent, that's when you realize like there is a problem. There's a huge problem here, because for somebody like Kshitij, what does he have to do? He has to wait 4 days. The Bucks are going to play on Tuesday or Wednesday. He'll go and watch them at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's going to enjoy the hell out of it. And he's going to be like, yes, basketball is back. I love basketball. I love everything about basketball. I love Giannis. I'm going to watch Giannis. And fair enough. Why would people like it becomes really hard to care after a point. When the club doesn't love you back, why invest your time and money in it? Like I'm telling you my personal situation. Manchester United is always going to be my club. But I'm going to start watching Liverpool a lot more, because as I've said thousands of times before, I have a man crush on Jurgen Klopp. I love him. I love him so much. I'm going to go watch his football team. I'm going to extract my joy from the game by watching Jurgen Klopp, watching that team, fist pumping the hell out of it. Like people will stop caring, and a lot of people have. This is I don't know what to tell you after a point, man. I just don't know what to tell you. Like I was not happy with the Ronaldo signing for a myriad of reasons, and none of those reasons have turned around for me. None of them. and it's a very sad state of affairs for the past month and a half since Ronaldo switched from Man City to Manchester United. I've had feared something like this would happen. I'm not trying to profit or anything. I'm just trying to share my pain. I'm just trying to share my hurt. That's all I'm trying to do.
Fair enough, dude. What else can I say? I guess I agree with most of the stuff you're saying.
Let's move on to
Like,
something much more joyful. Let's move on to the Chelsea Brentford game. Let's move on to what I love the most. This game, the game of football. Let's talk about like I want to first clarify one thing. Like I've been talking for a while, but I'll be very short with this. Edouard Mendy. I was not happy with him being keeper of the year. Not
same.
because I
We
don't
had
think I
this
don't.
discussion.
Yeah, I know, no, but I want to clarify something. People might assume that I didn't rate him or anything like that. That's not the reason why. I just thought that Edouard Mendy was not the had
Excellent
not
enough.
like he's showcasing his abilities now, in my opinion, not in the last year. Last year, I don't
Yeah, I
remember
think
anything like this happening. This season, I remember him having at least three performances when he was the difference between winning and losing for Chelsea Football Club. And
jeez.
it's not that's not my that was never my point. My point was not that Edouard Mendy is not a good keeper. My point was that
Oh
Edouard
yeah,
Mendy has not shown himself to be the best keeper. Those are two different things.
exactly. He had
That
the
was the
world's
point
best
that I was.
defense behind him last season. They didn't have exactly any tough or challenging shots or something to prevent it.
They
Okay, he
didn't
kept
have
it
those
clean sheet.
games where like Liverpool overwhelm you or like a Brentford completely overwhelms you. Like that's
Yeah,
that's the problem with being keeper as well. I think that there are a lot of flaws. Like first of all, individual awards in football are meaningless. There has been a discussion on this on Twitter as well. I think Grace Robertson has also talked about this. A lot of people have shared their opinion on this, and I agree with most of their opinions. I agree that these awards mean very little. They don't encapsulate anything. They don't capture anything. They uh, the whatever. I don't even care. I don't care enough about these awards to really like. You asked me before, like even last year sometime, who do you think is going to win this award? Who do you think is going? I've never been too keen on having an opinion on it. Like once the awards are announced, I'm willing to debate it. But yeah, beforehand, I generally don't really care who's going to win. Like give Jorginho the award, that's fine. I understand why. Because these kinds of things, you have to pick the reason why you give these awards. So that is another reason why they become kind of random and useless. So,
hmm.
and it's not an individual sport. It just isn't. It's not about the individual guy. As an individual,
I
especially in
stopped.
football, go
I
ahead.
stopped paying attention on the Ballon d'Or nominations the second I saw Joshua Kimmich and Thomas Muller were nominated. I just knew something was wrong, and I'm like, okay, no, screw this. It's just
I don't think it's there is something wrong with it. I think the concept of it has a problem in itself. Why do you want to award individualism? Okay, this will go back to again the Ronaldo thing that I want to talk about at a later date. Like
so we'll
the
do this some
whole
other day. Fair
yeah,
enough.
we won't
We'll just
let's not discuss these things because those things all come into one umbrella. And let's talk about okay, Edouard Mendy was really good. He was basically the difference between Chelsea winning and losing. And
I
let's
think he
talk
has a
about
shout for Keeper of the Year, and he deserves it more this year as of the
oh
performances
yeah,
he started
yeah,
with.
yeah. That's what the thing is. It's performances, it's moments. That's what being, especially being a keeper. I think that's what it becomes. That's what it's all about. The moments that you produce. Like I thought David De Gea was the best keeper in the world for a few years in the middle. Why? Not
Yeah, I
because he
think a
was
lot of people would have agreed with you on that,
not because he
and
was
rightfully
consistently
so.
keeping clean sheets, because he was producing crazy performances that no other keeper was producing in the world at the time. Like the 11 saves against Arsenal, there was that save against Everton that he had made. There was like crazy performances. Like some of the saves that he made last night. One of the shots that he deflected that hit the
Exactly. I
post,
was. I don't think we
amazing.
mentioned this or anything. I don't think we mentioned this because we had a lot of other problems to talk about. United could have conceded at least seven if they didn't have De Gea in net. I mean, the four was a bit, overwhelming during the last 10 minutes where the team just went complete berserk and everything, and United completely lost the game. But before that, he saved so many shots and everything. I just
Yeah.
think, but at the end, it won't matter for him because he conceded four goals. That's the
It didn't
worst part
matter
of
at
being a
that time also when he was doing this, dude. He was doing this as he was Superman. Me and Kshitij called him Superman at one point in time because he was producing saves out of nothing. He was we were watching him week in, week out. Like that is why David De Gea will always have a place in my heart. Like I might I might criticize him for some of his performances and stuff, but the 3 years he was one of the main lifelines that the club had. He was the one shining silver lining that we could hold on to as fans to enjoy football and to enjoy watching Manchester United play. Like, I mean, it's oh my god. I mean, he's come back. Like, that David De Gea had gone away for a couple of years, and now he's here. He's back again. He's back into his prime. He's saving everything with his feet again. Anything that is low, David is getting his feet on it, and he's tipping away everything. He's saving everything he can, and he's still conceding 4 goals. So good luck to
Also,
you, David De Gea.
Getting back to Chelsea, this is one point I have.
Hmm.
Chelsea's attackers are not in the best form of their life. They're not even at a very
They're a
good
bit
form at
clunky.
this
I think the
point.
whole team is a bit clunky at the moment, isn't it?
Exactly, it's clunky. Romelu Lukaku hasn't been completely figured out as Chelsea as of now. He had a few
Hmm.
performances, I think. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
in
if
the
the I
beginning,
was
there was
right.
like that looked like they're going to destroy everything.
Exactly. In the beginning, he looked like he's going to be an FPL nightmare or something. All of that was there. And Timo Werner is still on and off. He's performing well right now, but we have to see how his confidence dips and everything. Mason Mount, I love the guy. I swear to God, I love him more than
Hmm.
any. I think he's one of my favorite players in the game. He's
Hmm.
been out of form this year. He hasn't performed yet.
Hmm.
I would back him up for anything, but I can see he's not performing yet. Same goes for Kai Havertz. But here's the difference between Champions League and title contenders and top four racers. They can make out those results. The Brentford result, they didn't deserve to win it. I'm sure Brentford should have scored more, but they had Edouard Mendy and they put up a performance. They didn't. I don't think even they even deserve that 1-1 draw against Liverpool. Mendy saves them there again. But these are the 3 points and the 1 point that matters when you're
Yeah.
competing for the title.
Yeah.
And this is what Chelsea have. You can't bring a player back into form within a game. It takes time.
Hmm.
But till then, they have that defender scoring goal, whether be it Chalaba, Marcus Lonzo, Chilwell. They have midfielders putting in the shift. They have the four. I think they have out of the four midfielders they have. I think top 15 in the world, and they have four of them, and only two of them started time.
I don't think Saul deserves that spot at all. Saul was
Top
good 2
15.
years ago. Saul was not even good last year for Atletico. Three
Okay,
is more
fair
than
enough.
enough, dude. 3 is more than enough. I'm not trying to
Three is
cut the
more than
point.
enough.
3 is more than enough. 3 out of 15 in the
I think
world. That's really good.
two of them have a Ballon d'Or shot, and one of them is the most underrated player I've ever seen.
Yeah. And Ross Barkley was
So
interesting when he came on the last time I saw him. Like
exactly,
that ball
Ruben
for two
Loftus.
Aspilicueta was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek is also somewhat
Yeah.
getting in his
Yeah.
shifts
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
performances. I think he's getting a lot of play time there now. And you see them, they're grinding out results till
Yeah.
their strikers don't get back in form
Yeah.
and start banging results. United can't do that.
Well,
Man City can do that somewhat, but yeah, this is the difference. I think this is why
yeah, that is
Chelsea
the
are.
difference. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Like, they
And
are
I see, and I get that, Liverpool are like doing great at the point. I don't see them carrying on that form in December, January. I think similar problems like last year will come again. I mean,
maybe
Keita
they
has
will.
been
Yeah.
performing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keita has been performing well. You've seen his injury track record. They have brought in Konate. He also has an injury track record. I don't think he's going to be the most reliable centre back they'll have.
That can always happen, and Liverpool are going to have problems when that happens because they do not have the squad depth. Like,
Exactly. And
this is
Chelsea have
documented.
that squad depth.
They don't have the
Chelsea
squad
have
depth,
that.
and they can't have that squad depth because that is what Jurgen Klopp does. Like, that is how he sets his sides up. Like, he wants like the rhythm of the game and playing the same side, like the same set of small group of players in and out every week is how he likes to operate. That is fine. There are always going to be philosophical issues when you are like there are always going to be philosophical flaws when you're playing a particular type of football. Pep Guardiola the same. Thomas Tuchel the same. Thomas Tuchel's teams look a bit stodgy. They look a bit slow. They look a bit depressed sometimes. As we saw against Brentford, they look a
Yeah.
bit constricted and restricted and narrow and kind of inflexible and brittle. Like, they look a bit like that. Like, every philosophy will have its problems, but when the philosophy clicks, it clicks. And how frequently it clicks is what makes you one of the greatest managers in the world and what wins you titles and championships. So
Exactly. You and
yeah.
I can make all the teams of Chelsea's lineup before the game, and there's still a good chance of us being wrong. I didn't expect Sarr to play yesterday. I
Hmm.
expected Christensen to be in the squad and Thiago Silva be rested. But Chalobah, Son, and they just switch up the squad so many times because they have that amount of, what do you say, world-class players. Or if not
I think not
world-class, one
even
of the
world
best.
class players, like world class managers who give players instructions that they can follow and execute. I think
Exactly. And
that
this
is
is the thing.
another factor as well. Because if Malang Sarr is playing and if Trevor Chal, nothing against these guys, they are elite footballers, but
Yeah,
they are not the top 10 defenders in the world. That's not what this squad is. It's not filled with top 10 talent in every position all the time. Like some of the times, what you need is a player who goes in and does a job, and it's onto the manager a lot of it. Like Ferguson was amazing at it. Like we have seen countless examples of Manchester United teams of players like Ji Sung Park, John O'Shea, Wes Brown. They will provide you a particular set of skills and they will execute for you. And the manager, when he extracts that from those players and he understands this is what I need this player to do and I know he can do it, that mental understanding, that's leadership. That is being amazing at management. That is what it is all about. Like that's what it is. I think in football, management is, it doesn't get enough credit. Like people criticize Deschamps, like you have the best players in the world and you're being stodgy about it. Uh, you winning a World Cup and winning something like that, you have to understand what you've got and you have to put that on the field and be able to execute that. Like
exactly. Portugal had one of the better squads in the Euro Championship. They didn't reach that far.
they didn't. And
Exactly.
like and same thing with the Portugal team. Like the
For
Portugal
that
team in
point.
2016 was not great. It had some pretty average players, but they had a particular set of skills. And Fernando Santos at that time understood what I'm supposed to extract from these players, and what the sum of my parts is going to get me a championship. And that's exactly what happened. Like that's designing a team around Cristiano Ronaldo. Look at what that Euro team was. Their objectives were to get Cristiano Ronaldo into the best positions and use that Cristiano Ronaldo to the best of his ability, because he is one of the best players in the world. He still is. He's not. He might not be in the top 5 or whatever bracket you want to put him, but he's still one of the best players in the world at what he does. But that's the thing. You have to realize exactly what he does well, and you have to extract that, and you have to put a light on that, and you have to execute that. That's what the objectives are, and that's what football management is about. So like at least in my understanding, that's what it's about. So
Yeah, I agree with you there.
let's talk about another example of brilliant football management in Thomas Frank and Brentford. This
Yeah,
is
I
our
think this should be
supposed to
our
be our
top
main
topic
topic
for
of
this
the
day.
day. And
Yeah, should we save the main for the last?
yeah, and but I don't know. We've already talked for almost an hour because of the Manchester United and Chelsea and talking out random tangents. So we'll
Yeah,
talk as much as we feel we are able to about
I
Brentford,
just
a bit
I just
about
feel that
Norwich as well, and yeah, go ahead. Let's talk
I
about it.
think
Let's go.
Brentford are an improved version of last year's Leeds. They have that energy, they have that fight. Plus, the home crowd support is always there and everything. The management might slightly better. The set of players is debatable. I'm not sure who has the better side or something. But the way that team works as one unit, it's just amazing to watch. They've given almost each and every team a
They
run for
don't
their
play
money,
the
whether
same
they lose or
systems
win.
though. It's not a man marking system at all. Leeds play a very particular way. There is very few sides. Like I can't name another team that plays a lot like Leeds, especially defensively. Like the man marking
Yeah,
systems being employed, those man marking
I think
systems are supposed to be obsolete because they are very easy to break through for the top teams. But Leeds play that way because they have a particular understanding and philosophy of pressing, and that is why they execute that. Like Brentford's team, they have a pressing game, but they don't have a man marking game.
Yeah, I
So
think the energy and the pressing system is what I was comparing them with
yeah, the
Leeds
pressing
United.
systems are there.
They just
I think
feel
a
like
better comparison would be something like a kind of what do you call it? I think the rotations aren't there for you to call them Atlanta or something like that.
yeah,
Like they have a bit of a unique style of play as well. Like especially the way Ivan Toney functions and operates. Like he drops into different kinds of positions. The way he matches up with Mbuemo, and like I haven't seen enough of Brentford to understand exactly what they're trying to do. Like you have to
He's
analyze
been
them.
brilliant so far. I think his
I
link
think the
up with
front line has
Embuemo.
been brilliant so far, and
Yeah,
the way the team has been set up is brilliant. Like that's what I like the most about it. Like they know what they're trying to do. Like the way Sheffield United, when they came into the league, they knew exactly what they're trying to do. The way Leeds came into the league, they know exactly what they're trying to do. So I'm not going to pretend this Brentford team is going to be in the league for years to come, because once you get caught out, right, those things
yeah.
you have to adapt. You have to adapt because when you're playing
I think
yeah, go ahead.
Leeds are having a struggling phase right now because of
Yeah,
that. Because now I
yeah,
think people know how they play. I think the other teams know how to
yeah,
beat Leeds. And
yeah.
the thing is, the one thing about Leeds is they don't usually change their system or their play style. So you've seen against United how United
That is always going to be a restriction, dude, because those players are not Premier League players. Half of that team is a championship team. That team was struggling in the championship before Bielsa came in. When you play with a
yeah,
team that is not talented enough to compete, like when it's punching above its weight, right? It becomes really hard for you to either you beat a team of your opposition by tactical means, or you beat them by the skill of the players that you have on the pitch. The Leeds
yeah,
obviously do not have the skill of the players, so they're going to have to grind these results out. This year they have to survive. Then next year they invest in their squad, and from there, because from there you build a side, because they have the capability of being in this league. Leeds were a huge club 20 years ago, not too long ago. They were
yeah.
huge. They were playing Champions League games. So they have the infrastructure, at least from 20-year-old infrastructure, to be at the top. But you will take time. You will have to do you will have to do a lot of things. I don't know how a rebuild of a football club works. So I'm not going to pretend I
Yeah, I
understand.
think their transfer window was quite disappointing. I guess,
Under
it
Bielsa,
wasn't
you're
what
going
it.
to have to face these kinds of issues. There are all. Why do you think Marcelo Bielsa hasn't managed the best teams in the world? Why hasn't he managed a Barcelona or a Manchester City? Because he's a man who operates in a very particular way. He's a recluse. He is kind of an outlaw in the sense, like he doesn't conform to basic understanding, like the way we think of football, or even the way football ownership thinks of football. He has
Yeah,
his own ways. He has his own understanding, and that is why only a select few of people understand what he's trying to what his understanding of football is at its deepest level. People like Guardiola and Pochettino, not a lot of people can boast that they are able to connect with with Marcelo Bielsa on that level. I'm not saying he's a god or anything, something like that. No, he's a recluse. He does things his own way. He has his own way of thinking. There is an element of genius to it, and there's an element of stubbornness to it as well. And that's
yeah.
he's a man of contradictions. He's one of the most fascinating men in football, and that is why people love him. I am one of those people. I love Marcelo
Same.
Bielsa. I want to know more and more about him. I have to read more about him. I have to
Have you
read books
seen the
on him.
documentary, All or
I
Nothing, the
have seen
Leeds
the
of
Leeds
Champions League?
documentary, and it is a very
It was
fascinating
amazing.
documentary, and it's a very lovely documentary. So
Yeah, I think after that, I started watching all of Leeds games every weekend as much as I can.
yeah,
It's
I've told you,
just amazing.
I watch very little football. If you ask me, like I
Yeah.
yeah.
But getting back to Brentford, the defense line, three defenders, they've been working extremely well this season. I
Hmm.
think Pinnock and the ex-Leeds United players only, Janssen, Patrick Janssen is there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really hated him for the moment in the Leeds documentary where he didn't let them. He tried to stop the goal, if you remember, the one against Aston Villa,
Yeah,
where they
well,
were supposed to give them a free goal and everything.
I think in
And
something like that, I think you kind of get what Pontus like. He explained himself, and I understood what he was like, because I personally would absolutely hate it. Like if I'm standing there and somebody just walking and scoring. I understood why Bielsa did it, but when you're on that
yeah,
pitch, like your mental space is very very different to what a mental space of a person who's viewing that will be, right? So like yeah, we
fair
are
enough.
talking
But
about
yeah, getting
promotions
back to,
and like teams who are in the scrap as well. And
I think
yeah,
their
go ahead.
centre back Ajer is out right now. But yeah, that those three defenders have been extremely well this season. Their tackling rate and everything has been great. They've been
Hmm.
putting a performance in. And their keeper also, I think the only two
David
three
Raya is
keepers
very
who I
good.
know.
He's very good. Yeah,
No, he's
I
not been
knew
his
that in the
speed also.
championship also, when he was playing in the championship. He's kind of he has some moments, like sometimes he'll do something and you're like, why the hell have you done that? But David Raya
Hmm.
overall, but like that's again like the philosophy, right? There's a process to it. That's what this
Yeah.
Brentford team believes in a lot as well. They believe in processes. They believe that the way,
I
if
think
they continue playing a particular way, like it will bring you results at the end of the day. So yeah, go ahead.
I think even Jurgen Klopp said that they have a playmaker in goal with the long balls he provides and everything. I think this and him and Edison have this very similar
Yes,
trait,
yes,
distribution, which is
yes.
actually quite underrated for goalkeepers. Like, okay, there is always
Well,
that, oh, they
it's
should
not
play
even underrated. It's just unheard of more than underrated.
unheard of also, exactly.
Like it's a
Because,
very new thing. Like there's, I think I can't remember a lot of keepers who are great at distribution. Like Manuel Neuer is one of those. He was the first.
yeah,
He was basically the first.
he was the
And
sweeper keeper and everything.
the
Yeah,
sweeper
fair enough.
keeper, even distribution wise, he's able to ping in a lot
Yeah,
of great balls. Like the sweeping part of it is does it like no one else does. Even the keeping, the way he positions himself, like Royer is very unique as a keeper. And the distribution, Ederson is amazing at it. Like sweeping,
Edison,
Allison is
I
very
remember
good at.
the,
Allison is great at
yeah, I
sweeping
think,
and positioning and those kinds of things. Allison is really, really good at. And then David Raya as well. I don't know about the sweeping part. I haven't seen enough, but
yeah,
the
I've seen the
distribution part, at
distribution
least you
part.
realize that. Like even the distribution, the way he looks also, like sometimes there's a keenness for a pass that he has. Like he's going to look for the tougher one. He doesn't care. Like the way Ederson doesn't really care if it messes up or not,
Yeah,
because they have been given the license again, the management, the processes. These all come down to one man. Everything that you talk about with the player, right? It'll go up to management because that's what football functions. It's Thomas Frank has given David Raya the license to look for those passes because he understands that even if it looks as embarrassing or silly sometimes, but most of the time
it
the
works.
way it will execute, it will win you more than it will win you a lot more games and a lot more points than it will lose you.
I don't think he has a big care for the public opinion that, oh no, the playing style is, if it works, it works.
I
And
think
it's his
most
playing style.
managers don't. Most elite
Exactly.
managers don't. They do not care what the
Yeah.
public really thinks. They care what their fans think who are sitting there with them.
Yeah.
They care about that. But otherwise, because those become their 12th man, right? You need these people
Yeah.
on side. The people who are sitting behind me in the stands, you want them to be screaming and enjoying their game as much as possible. And obviously, all these guys care about that. Jurgen Klopp clearly does because he has a connection with an Anfield that I think very few managers before have had. Like only the best of the best who have stood in that dugout have that. And I think all Liverpool fans will tell you that. Like Pep Guardiola has an unprecedented connection with football at Manchester City. Like in the way he was brought into the club, it was a long-term plan. The way the I hate Man City fans because I don't think they are as loyal to uh, like they do not appreciate what this Pep Guardiola has done. They had one before Pep Guardiola came in, I understand. But the way Pep Guardiola approaches his football and what they're watching right now, like they've gotten a bit self-serving because of the Abu Dhabi thing and everything. Like they feel that everything
Yeah.
is a conspiracy against them, and if they'll even push Pep under the bus for it. Like the Twitter ones I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the guys in the stands because I don't know them. I
Obviously,
haven't.
then they're the locals and everything, and they've been
Yeah,
supporting way before the Abu
yeah,
Dhabi
they were
takeover
there
and
long before. They will remember and they will tell you how much they love Pep. So like and the same way I think like uh the way which other manager, like I think another manager who has really connected with the club and really connected with the fans and really
I think Jurgen Klopp is one of them.
obviously Jurgen Klopp is there. There is no doubt about it. And even I think Rafa Benitez did connected with Newcastle fans really well. Like they understood what the
Yeah.
situation was, and they understood what Rafa was trying to do, and that is why there was a bond. Like they wanted Rafa Benitez to succeed because, and they were wholeheartedly behind him in everything that he did.
I
Because
think Leeds
yeah,
fans are also behind Bielsa
yeah,
in that
exactly.
way.
Oh,
I
that is the
think.
perfect example. Like not even Leeds fans, the city of Leeds is behind Marcelo Bielsa. Like, and that is what Marcelo Bielsa does. Like he doesn't want to win the football club and the football fans. He wants to win the city, and he will always have that. Like this documentary showed us. Like that is just the beginning. Like there will be like the way there are murals and graffitis of
Yeah.
Marcelo Bielsa in Rosario in Argentina. The same way, like Leeds will become one of his second homes. The way Bilbao in Spain has become one of his second homes. Like the Basque countryside. Like I'm not sure of the city.
Yeah.
I apologize for not knowing. But like the other cities that he has been successful in, where he's bonded and he brings so much. Like he brings, these guys bring so much to the fans, and so they will always, there is a special bond that some of these managers are able to form with their clubs and their with their fan base. So what was the main point we were talking about? I kind of lost track, sorry. uh
I think you were referring to the Man
yeah,
City
where
fans
they're
who,
referring to the referring to the fact that these guys don't care what you think, these, and they should not.
yeah,
There's a philosophy, there are ideas in place, they have thought about it long term. It's their job. Their job is to identify where this club is going to go in the next year, in the next 6 months, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. That's the management's job. That's the people above, the sporting directors, the recruiting systems, the technical directors. Those are their jobs. So they will do their job, and they are the ones who have the best understanding of what's going on, where we are, because they have the most information available to them as well. They have the they have the best facilities. They are watching these players day in day out. They're watching opposition players day in day out. Like, so pretending that we are able to understand and we are going to be able to speculate and project where things go is kind of futile. It makes no sense. You have barely any of the information laid out in front of you, and so pretending that you are able to ascertain what is going to happen in the future is completely pointless. So let's
I think we've got some topics today, I guess.
yeah, we've talked a lot about okay, let's talk about the other relegation candidates and as well as the other promoted teams. Norwich, more of the same. They are
Yeah,
in
I
that
don't expect
purgatory.
any
They're
change.
stuck between the two leagues kind of thing. I think Watford have similar problems. But like talking about Watford, like
Yeah, I
the
wanted to
fans are
ask you.
pretty happy. The Watford fans are really happy with what's going on at the club and with the ownership. Because looking from the outside, you would assume that they hate this ownership who keeps changing managers all the time. But Watford fans are
Yeah,
like, dude, this is the best we've ever done. We remember, fans remember. The people on Twitter don't remember anything that happened in the past for more than 48 hours. Like the Manchester United thing, like by the time Atlanta comes, this result will be forgotten. But the people who are genuine fans and who have dedicated who for whom football is a part of life, those people remember. Those people will remember when things were bad. So even I think Norwich fans, I think a lot of them will be quite glad. They're just like, yeah, we are in the Premier League, dude. What else? Our club is sustainable. It is doing reasonably well. It is competing for Premier League football every couple of years. It is
they gave a fight last night out. If I'm not wrong, they drew with Brighton. If I'm not wrong,
yeah,
right?
they did draw with Brighton, and that is a
Quite a decent
great
result.
result. That is a great result. No, I would call it a great result because Brighton is looked really good
On
this
the
year,
form
and
of their life. Yeah,
another great, like
exactly.
another manager who trusts the process. Graham Potter. I wasn't really out on Graham Potter per se. I was more out on this idea that XG is what defines your team. It's a good metric, as we've talked about before, but I don't think it should be the be all end all metric that you observe football teams by, which a lot of people, in my opinion, do. Like watching football games is, I think, a lot more important than actually defining than actually just looking at statistical numbers, looking at expected goals, expected points, expected threat. Like, I'm not saying don't look at the numbers. The numbers have value. That's not the point.
That's just a statistic to
It's a
soften the blow, I
statistic.
guess.
Exactly. It's a statistic to expand upon what you've seen. You first watch, then you look at the stats to either determine whether your opinion on it, on what you watched, was correct, or to either be like, oh, okay, the I thought that I saw this, but the statistics are telling me something different. Why are the statistics telling me something different? To explain a point, to understand a point, to understand what's going on. That is what they're supplementary. like like in school, if you remember, you had a normal book that was given to you, like for example 11th and 12th, the NCRT book was there. That was your main book, right?
Yeah,
That is what the book you have to prepare for your exams. But you don't go and prepare the exams with the supplementary material that is being provided, like the other books that are there, like pick up whatever, like exam guides
articles
and shit
and
like
all.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
If you prepare your papers on the exam guides, they will not help you in the actual paper, because all the papers, example papers, that questions that are going to come from your main book. The main book
NCRT,
is
yeah,
what you have
exactly.
to be 100% familiar with. So use those as supplementary guides. That is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to guide you in if you've asked a question, those statistics can answer those questions for you, or either determine your opinion or cut across your opinion. Like it can do those things, but those statistics in and of itself should not define what a good football team is or what a good football performance is. So
Fair enough. So my question to you was,
go ahead.
what are your opinions on Claudio Ranieri and Watford? Where do you see them? How do you see them
I don't
doing? And how do
know.
you see them?
I don't know if they'll get away from relegation. If they're going to
I
get away
mean,
from, like, do they have the
this
squad
guy
for it?
has,
Huh?
I mean, did Leicester have the squad to win the title?
Yeah, but Claudio Ranieri has done one miracle. He's not pulled off miracles all the time. Since
Yeah,
then,
but
look
I
at
think
Claudio Ranieri's
pulling
squad
out
after Leicester.
Watford, I mean, pulling out Watford from relegation zone could be something. Like, obviously, they didn't have the best starts against Liverpool. I think Liverpool were on a complete different demon on the first half, in the first 60 minutes at least. But you saw what Watford did in the last. Did you see the game, by the way?
I missed it.
No, no. So in the last 15 minutes, Watford completely took control of the game. Sissoko
Hmm.
was on a different level. And
Hmm.
like their attack wasn't, but they were completely pressurizing Liverpool. And to
Hmm.
be fair, Liverpool were 4-0 up, so they weren't exactly giving it their all and everything.
Yeah.
And they weren't putting up a fight. But you could see how Watford gave it a try in front of their fans.
Yeah, that's
And
and
that
that.
was something
See, that the thing
really
with that
sort of,
is now, Ayush, like, first of all, it's one game. Like, not even one game. You're talking about 30 minutes. Those 30 minutes have
yeah,
very little value over a season, right? I'm not saying you're wrong or you're
exactly.
right. I'm just saying that the amount of information we have is too little to ascertain anything about what's going to happen with this team. That is what my point is.
Yeah,
I didn't even watch those 30 minutes you're talking about. I missed the Liverpool. I wanted to watch it. I was really excited to see Mo Salah again. And I'm thoroughly disappointed in the fact that Mo Salah again scored a brilliant goal and I've missed it again. So,
my God. It's just that he's been playing like prime since the start of the league. I just can't put it any other way. I think him and Benzema are the only like two comparators for the most on-form players in the world. And I'd actually edge it over to Salah because of the opposition and everything he's faced. I guess to
yeah, I
some
don't know
extent
about
because
that because I think you have to watch Benzema enough to be able to, like, I know enough of, I've watched Benzema enough to at least understand what Benzema does and why he's so good. That much at least I have an idea about. But like this particular comparison between Salah and Benzema, whether who's playing better right now, first of all, they are two very different players. They do two very different jobs in two teams who play very differently. So in and of itself, like that's a very weird argument to have. Like like people want to argue, people can say like I think Salah is better because of this. People can say, oh, I like Benzema better because of this. My answer would be to the question that you asked is two different players, two different jobs, two different teams. How do you want me to, again it comes back to the Ballon d'Or thing. It's a
fair
very
enough,
subjective
fair enough.
sport in my opinion, so giving it an award like best player in the world, I understand why it exists. I understand it being there. I'm not saying abolish the Ballon d'Or or anything like that. I'm just saying I'm not going to give too much weightage to it. I don't care. That's what my response is to it. That's all.
Fair
Salah is
enough.
amazing. Benzema is doing really well. I think Lewandowski has also consistently been good. Even you
Even
talked about
Haaland is
Patrick
up
Schick
there.
in that post that you had put on match of the on
Oh yeah, that was amazing, dude. That
the
was just it
terrible
was so good.
Thursdays, terrible opinions Thursdays or whatever you called it.
Yeah.
Please quote it
So
for
the
me.
thing
Like, please
is,
tell me exactly what it's called.
it's terrible opinion Thursday. So this is something I
Yeah.
do on my match day report. So usually it's a tweet from a stupid United fan or a stupid Barcelona fan saying that how Martial is the best in the world or something, and I think he'll do better than even Messi in the Ronaldo squad or something. Some just opinions that are just for a laugh or something, and I think even they put it out as a joke to get popular or something. But yeah, so this week I tried something different. So I think I'd seen this on Bad Football Opinions before
Hmm.
that people had they had asked that do you think Patrick Schick has been out of form since the Euros? And obviously 90% of the people were yeah, because none of them follow Bundesliga. And even if they do, they don't follow Bayer Leverkusen or something. So they said no. And then people saw that he's already saw six goals in 7 games or something, which is actually quite good. And
Well,
like
I didn't
that's
know about
obviously
Patrick Schick or anything. I didn't know how many goals Patrick Schick had scored, but I knew Leverkusen are playing well because I watched. Because the thing with the Leverkusen thing is, I think who's the right winger? I think Musa Diaby is still there, right? Musa
I think
Diaby I saw, and
he's
Musa Diaby was destroying everything in the
yeah,
couple of
he's
games that I
playing well,
saw.
but I I think he plays on the left. I think they have some other right wing or something.
I think in that particular game he might have been on the right or something, but I saw two games
Could
because
be.
I thought
He
I'd
is
follow
flexible.
Leverkusen. But now I believe I can't because I don't think Bundesliga is telecasted in India, which broke my heart. And
Oh, it is. It is. Do you have
where
Sony Live?
it is on Sony Live. Oh, I'm going to kill Kshitij, dumbass. Kshitij told me it's not anywhere, and I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do now? I have Sony Live. Like, if there
I
is a
have Sony
subscription
Live.
service that is available, I'm willing to take it to watch football. But and that's
So
the
I
team I
think
want to
Sony
follow.
Live.
Funnily enough, Bayer Leverkusen is the team I want to watch the most. Like Atlanta and Bayer Leverkusen in the teams that I want to watch as much of this season because I thought
I
because
think.
I watched one
Yeah,
Leverkusen game and I was like, I am loving what they're trying to do. I am loving what they're trying to
yeah.
execute. So
I think
now that
even
I know I'm going to
so.
watch, yeah.
It's on Sony Live. They have Champions League, Europa League. I'm not sure about Conference League as I haven't really
I
switched
don't
on
care.
to watch that.
I'm not going to watch any of the conference league. Maybe the final or
Yeah,
semis. I don't care about any. Why should I? I
yeah.
mean,
So moving on to the match repost thing. So obviously I thought, get okay. And then see the thing is, a lot of people, like I think a few chunk of people decided to not vote upon it because
I
that's the
was one
best
of
option
those.
if you yeah, because you didn't know, because completely, of course, if you don't know it, then why would you want to give your stake on it? If you don't know something, it's just there's a very good chance, at least 50% chance of you being wrong. And if luck
Yeah.
isn't on your side, then 100% chance of you being a dumbass.
I think the
As a lot.
simplest answer to what you just said is like, why didn't you vote? I don't know. Why I'm not going to
Exactly.
pretend I know. Why should I vote on something that I don't understand? So
And a lot of people pretended to know. I don't want to out my followers and anything, but this is
no,
just the
no,
true
please don't do
reality.
not do that. They will understand
Yeah, I
and
mean,
they will.
obviously, they give me love and support, obviously. I'm just saying that sometimes
No,
they
not
do
just
things.
that. Like,
And
why do you want to insult anybody online? Like, what's the point? Like, what does it get
obviously,
anyone? Who cares? You
obviously,
were wrong.
it's
Who cares?
78% of them said no, because obviously they don't watch. And in the next slide, I put the FREF of Patrick Sheik, and it was actually hilarious. And like some
Hmm.
people took it as laugh, some people were embarrassed because they know they pressed no, right? And they
Yeah.
thought they're the football geniuses, and like, no, I haven't heard his name in the media. He's not as popular as Salah or Benzema. His name isn't popping up. He's not Erling Haaland or Robert Lewandowski, so he
I
might
think
not be
it's the
doing
league
well.
also. Like the league is the biggest problem. Like why would you care? Like the way, like look at what Bayer Leverkusen have done since. Like look at what is happening on Twitter. Did you see those screenshots with Bayer Leverkusen and what?
Oh yeah, that was amazing. That's just a Twitter admin going
The
on.
funniest part about it was right. Like when the Leverkusen admin said that okay, just so that people get a refresher as to what happened. Bayer Leverkusen's Twitter account is English Twitter account is hilarious. Okay, though the admin does
Yeah.
not give a fuck. He's going to go in if you're saying something stupid. He's going to fuck you. So basically, he said he's like, uh, don't watch the Bundesliga or something like that. That red flag nonsense
Red
that was
flag, yeah,
going
that's
on.
the new trend, right? Yeah, I don't watch the Bundesliga, and that's a red flag or
There's a
something. There's a difference.
red flag, and then they're like, then obviously there was some dumb open mouth Neanderthal fan who came in, and he was like, the one team league, something he was talking about. Then
You all
obviously
sell your
sell
prospects to
your
Bayern
talents
Munich,
to
and then
Bayern Munich or something
yeah,
he was talking about. Then obviously they were like, we have not sold a player to Bayern Munich since 2004. And then they're like,
yeah.
oh, then funnily enough, the next comment was from a Chelsea fan. Okay.
Mhm.
Chelsea fan.
Oh yeah,
Please remember
this
that.
I didn't notice this, but this is
It was
just this is
CFC something
10 times
something.
more than
That's what guy's name was. Okay. No, I remember that particularly. That is why I thought it was completely insane. Then, oh, you haven't produced a talent since 2004 then. And then the admin, instead of saying instead of spotting that it's a Chelsea fan who said it, he was just like, the last talent we produced scored the Champions League winning final goal. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't even say that he scored it for your club. I think even the
Yeah,
admin
he
messed
just
up that
said,
he's a
he didn't even mention Kai. He did not need to. He just said the Champions League
yeah.
winning goal was scored by a Bayer Leverkusen talent, a player produced by Bayer Leverkusen from their academy. And then this is where I actually wanted to talk to about what's going on. Then the comments they weren't about the fact that, oh yeah, Kai Havertz is so good. Why would you say that? Like, that's a stupid thing to say. Like, in terms of the guy who commented, you haven't produced a talent. The comments were, oh, it was just a tap in. I was like, dude, you have completely
Oh,
missed the
come
point of
on.
what is going on. You have completely, like, you couldn't score that tap in, you idiot, because you have completely missed the point here. The point, I can't believe I have to explain it.
It wasn't even a tap in. He made the run. He
I don't
dribbled
care.
past the keeper.
It doesn't matter. That's the point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it was a tap in or not. The point was that it was Kai fucking Havertz, one of the most prodigiously talented footballers in the world right now. A 21-year-old, amazing player. He tore it up in the Bundesliga. He has the ability to tear it up in any league in the world. He's a Champions League winner and he was an important part of that team. And that was just his first season. The point was that the player was Kai fucking Havertz. The point wasn't the fact that he scored a tap in or it was Timo Werner's goal because Timo Werner did all the work, or Mason Mount made the pass for him, or whatever fucking idiot ideas that you have. That's not the point. You're missing the fucking point. Please try and be better. Please try and understand what the person is trying to say. It doesn't have to be as obviously written in front of you. Please think, or at least have the ability to think. If you don't have the ability to think, then shut your mouth. That much, at least that much you can expect, right? We all complain about how much of a cesspool Twitter is. This is why it is that.
Man, I just use Twitter
try and be better.
Write my threads and post them on Instagram. I don't even check my feed or anything. It's completely
Good on
useless
you.
to me.
I use Twitter a lot, but yeah.
It's such a toxic place.
Oh, it is very toxic. I think all of them are it's the way you handle these accounts. Like Instagram also can be super toxic, and that is nothing to do with
any
football.
Of your celebrities post or something. So I'm a vivid follower of Sidemen and everything. If I some person from their post, I think everyone's there. Ratio, saying something absurd about them.
Yeah. Going into Twitter comments is the problem. Like, follow the guy you follow, listen to what they're saying. Like the tweets and all, like that is what I do use it for. I make the mistake of going into the comments all the time. That is why I turned up. That is why I'm able to tell you what happened there. And it's toxic.
Plus,
it's pathetic.
Out there, right? Because like at least on Instagram, you can like a post and just move on. When you see a Twitter post, the comments are right down below it, and obviously your eye goes there. And obviously there might be one or two good comments and everything. Like, okay, that was a good stuff. But most of them are just toxic and trying to bring everyone down. And it's just such a don't like the behavior, but yeah, that's kind of going off topic. Yeah, I guess. So pretty much that's it for today.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, I think we are good for today. Final thoughts is try and listen more, try and read more, try and understand more, rather than like at least let us strive to, let us give it a shot. Like, it sounds philosophical, it sounds cheesy, it sounds stupid. Most of the people's reaction will be like, fuck you, who the fuck are you to tell us anything? I'm like, yeah, don't think of it that way. Like, listen to the message. The messenger does not matter here. And who cares? Like who cares who's saying it? So like, let's just enjoy football. Let's play football, and yeah, let others be happy. Like, just be happy. Like just let people do what they want to do. And anything from your side, Aayush?
No, I think I completely agree with what you say and the life lessons you just gave to our fellow watchers and everything. But yeah,
I didn't mean to, man. It just yeah. I didn't mean to, but yeah,
it's a good thing. So I'm just saying. So seeing that international break is over, you should be cherishing the football that's back and that you missed for a week and everything.
Yeah.
Love the game, watch it. Don't hate on people. You want to criticize someone, do it, but criticize their abilities or the things they do on the pitch. Not
and there's a way to criticize. Like, just
exactly. There's a way. There's a positive criticism and there's just absurd criticism, which has absolutely nothing to do with the player. And then you just go in that family. It's just disheartening. You have to understand. You have to look at it this way. Like, this could happen to you someday if you were big. Would you like it? Obviously not. So why do it? So yeah, other than that, I don't know. Stay safe. Watch football. Don't forget Corona still exists.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for the yeah. That's it from my side. Anshuman.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.